a drink and I'll be down in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
You know what? They say they're from out of town or whatever. We don't give a fuck. The deal is done. Now the cake been baked. They need to come on with the drama, whatever they gonna do.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 11th episode of the Mac Daddy Seminar. As always, I'm your host, Taylor Dunn, and we got this thing rolling now, guys. Yeah, man, it's episode 11. When I started this podcast, I was like, I'm just going to do the first couple of episodes. I'm going to see how it does. And now I actually really enjoy doing them. It's not like, oh shit, I have to, record the podcast this week. No, I enjoy doing them to the point to where, I'm thinking throughout the day, like, oh, I need to say that on the podcast and think about doing that. But yeah, it's been an eventful week. Honestly, this past weekend, before I get into that, last night I went to do an open mic in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, this cool spot out there called the Juke Joint, and it was a really good time, man. I've said before on the podcast how I'm a little skeptical about doing open mics because this is the thing about me, okay? Most people that do comedy and a lot of the people that are successful in comedy will all tell you have to start from the bottom. You have to do the open mics. Now, I've been to a handful of open mics. Some of them in professional comedy clubs, and then others just in absolute crack houses. I've been, one of my favorite places, the place that I started, the Stardome Comedy Club in Birmingham, Alabama, loved that place. I performed there for the first time when I was 18 years old, and then a couple of months later, they allowed me to get up on the main stage in front of 500 people and perform. And I loved it. But I don't live in Alabama anymore, so I can't go up there and do regular shows. So since I've been here in Mississippi, I've been trying to find places to do regular open mics just to work out and try material. And it's been hard. Now, I know some people are thinking oh, that's a stupid excuse, whatever. But look, I have a full-time job, I have a family, and I still make time to go do open mics one way or another. But if I'm going to drive an hour to get somewhere, and I'm only getting 3 minutes of time, think about this. Think about getting in your car and driving an hour from where you live on a weeknight. You have to get up early for work in the morning, and you get there, and you literally, it's a bar full of people, and they're like, yeah, we're doing this comedy night. We just started it. So, yeah, if you want to perform, just, go put your name on the sign-up sheet. So you sign the little sheet, and you stand around, and the bar is full of people, and not a soul in there is listening to anything you have to say. They do not give a fuck that you're up there, trying to tell jokes. They're just talking. They're just chewing the fat up there. So, you're trying to get people's attention, trying to get them to be interested and, listen to what you got to say, and, nobody cares. So that's why I tend to try and go to places that I know people have paid for a ticket. Even if it's just open mic, they've paid for a ticket, so they're going to sit and listen. And most of the time, you don't have to deal with anybody heckling you in that type of situation. But I think I might have found a place for me to start going regularly, trying out new material. The place I went last night, great environment, super friendly people. And there was only a handful of people there. And it was one of my favorite shows that I've ever done. And I was sitting in the car on my way over there, and I literally sat and thought of about every reason to talk myself out of going. I was like, I could just turn around now, and I can go back home, you know, and save myself the embarrassment. Because honestly, for people that do stand-up, you know, it's not like, oh, I like to sing, you know, covers of songs. Because you know the song. Stand-up changes every time you do it. You know? You're never going to do the exact same set twice. So, you're really putting yourself out there to get humiliated by standing in front of people. And, you know, I mean, that's basically what it is. You're in a place with a bunch of dudes that think they're funny. You know? And they go up there and, you know, do their spot, and that's it, you know? And if you drive an hour to do 3 minutes and nobody laughs, you feel like you wasted your time. But I had a real good time last night. I really enjoyed myself, and yeah, I'm definitely going to go back. So shout out to those guys over there at the Juke Joint. You guys, you made it feel like a place that somebody can come and work out material, which is really hard to find. Definitely down here in the South. But yeah, man, I just, I've been writing a lot more, you know, really picking apart my material, you know, just every day I've sat down and I've been writing, just writing. I wake up in the morning and I drink my cup of cold coffee, because we're not drinking hot coffee out here in 2019. You gotta drink it cold. Okay? I'm telling you, if you like coffee, make your coffee the night before, put it in the fridge, let it get cold overnight, wake up in the morning, throw your creamer in there. Better than Starbucks. No argument about it. Better than Dunkin' Donuts, man. And it's not as sweet. I don't like iced coffee that's way too sweet. Tastes like unicorn blood in a damn cup. I'm not about that. You know? So, yeah, I wake up in the mornings, I drink my cold coffee, and then I sit there and write, you know? And I wait on the sun to come up. But, yeah, what else happened? So this past weekend, oh my God, I can't. Okay. This past weekend, I'm pretty sure that I went to go do the whitest thing a group of people can do. And when I say the whitest, I mean like the Caucasian race can do. Me and my wife and another couple, we went to an escape room. That is the whitest thing that you can do. Going somewhere and pretend to be trapped. Because people are, like, for real trapped. And white people go and pretend to be kidnapped and pay to do that, you know? The only thing whiter I could have done than go to an escape room would have been, like, performing a citizen's arrest. You know what I mean? So, yeah. We go to this escape room, and I've never been there before. I've done one escape room before, and it was really good. It was back in my hometown, and it was just me and my wife, and we went, and we did the kidnap room, and they, like, blindfolded us and put handcuffs on us, and they took us in this room, and they're like, all right, whenever you take off your blindfold, your timer's going to start, and you have 1 hour to figure out all the puzzles and solve all the riddles to get the keys and get out of the room. I like that type of stuff. I'm a white guy, you know? I like the whole puzzle solving shit. But, you know, so I had high expectations going to this place. So we get in the car and we drive over there. And I'm thinking we're going to be a little bit late because I set us up a time from 2 to 3. That was our hour slot. And we got in the car and drove over there, and they asked us to be there 15 minutes before 2 o'clock so they could explain everything to us. So we got there at like 1:50, and they're like, oh, well, you know, we thought they were going to be, you know, giving us a problem about it, saying, well, it's going to eat into your time or something like that. No, we got there, and they're like, yeah, we're actually kind of running behind, so if you can just give us a couple of minutes, we'll be right with you. Okay, cool. So we sit there for like 10 minutes, and then this blonde chick who looks like a younger version of Courtney Love comes walking up to the front, and she's like, hey, do you guys know how to do combination locks? That's exactly how she said it. Like, I'm not adding emphasis on that. That's what she did. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we're all pretty young, you know, but, you know, I still remember how to do a combination lock from high school. So she says, okay, so you guys know how to do the combination locks? And we're all like, yeah, we do. So I'm thinking, you know, they're going to walk us down the hallway, they're going to put us in our handcuffs, and they're going to blindfold us and take us into the room. No. We all walk down the hallway, and there's a door to a room open, and it's just a room. It literally, you could tell that the building used to be a doctor's office. And I was just like, what? There was a cage, and I'm doing quotations with my fingers, that was literally just a bunch of wooden pallets that they had stood up to make look like a cage with a plywood door. And there was a couple of like little jewelry box looking things with combination locks on the table. And that was it. That was the room. And they had like a plywood box coffin. And we looked right in there before we even started. They're like, that's your room. You can go ahead and, you know, lock yourselves in. And I'm like, what? Because we go in there and we put these plastic handcuffs on ourselves. And they're like, okay, whenever the door shuts, your time starts. Go. So she shuts the door, and within 30 seconds, we're all out of these plastic handcuffs. One of my friends completely broke the thing. Tore it slap off the wall. The whole room was dirty. You could tell the stuff that you were supposed to mess with because, like, the keys to the handcuffs were hidden in like a light socket, and you could tell that the drywall around it had been messed with. So we were like, oh, okay, so just pull that out, and there it is, you know? And so yeah, that was pretty much the gist of the entire deal, was just that type of crap. And when we finished, let me back up a little bit. These people driving by my house with their exhausts and shit drive me crazy. Real quick, I'm just going to pause on that note. If you have a big ass exhaust on your truck, don't listen to this podcast anymore. You are excluded from the seminar from this point forward. If you got one of those big trucks and you have an exhaust on it, so every time you push the gas, it goes, jump head first into a porta potty. Okay? Stick a fork in a toaster, for real. If you want to have a truck, that's cool. That's cool. There's nothing against people that want to have a truck. I'm from the South. I get it. If you want a truck, cool. If you put a huge exhaust on it, eat paint chips. You know? Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, the escape room. So, we get out of the handcuffs in 30 seconds, right? Just like, out. Buddy snatches his off the wall. We find the code to get out of the little cage room within 2 minutes. So literally, we've only been in the room for 5 minutes total, and we've already made it out of the cage. So then we start solving the other puzzles because we're trying to get out of the room within an hour. So in an escape room, if you've never done one before, it's, you know, you're paying attention to detail. You're looking around for any little thing that you can get a clue from, right? I know there was this note written on the wall, and I was paying attention to it. Well, there were some letters on the note that were like bold. So I wrote down the letters, and it spelled Brian. And sure enough, there was this one little puzzle thing that you had to twist these letters around, and it spelled Brian, and it opened right up and had a key inside. Okay, cool. Right? So that was fine. There were a couple of other things that, you know, didn't really stick out right at first. And we were like, oh, and then when we figured out the combination and we opened another lock and we got another clue or we got a key or something, right? Well, I'm looking around the room and I see these numbers. We've only been in the room for 10 minutes at this point. We still have 50 minutes up on the little timer. It was this flat screen TV, and it had a timer on it, and it was like, it was just counting down, and whoever was running the place, they could give you hints. Like, they would just type up something on, like, Microsoft Word, and it would just spell out across the screen, and you could read it. Because there was a camera in there, and I guess a microphone system, because they could hear us. And, you know, we still have 50 minutes to finish, and we've already solved like 4 puzzles, right? So I see these numbers on the wall, and I'm like, hey, somebody come over here and help me out with this. So they're calling them off to me, and I'm writing them down. Well, there's a cell phone, like an old flip phone, on the table. And it didn't cut on, but the numbers were in a sequence to where you could, you know, it was just like when you used to text back in the day, when you had to press like 7, like 4 times to get S, or you'd have to press 8 once to get a T, that type of deal. Remember how we used to text like that? I remember writing girls like long, heartfelt love messages on phones like that. Like literally 2 pages worth of words, and it would take me 4 hours to type it. Little did I know that within the next 6 years, I could just literally pull out my phone and speak face to face with someone through FaceTime. But anyways, so I figure out all these codes, right? And the combination was 35, 22, 11. So we start trying this out on all of these little combinations and stuff, right? So I'm twisting away, you know, and we get one, and we do the combination. It opens up, and there's a hand inside. So we start looking at it, and we're like, oh, I wonder what this is for. Well, there's a handprint on the door that lets you out of the room. So my friend starts walking towards it, and then we see these words start coming up across the screen. It's like, how did you get the code to that box? And so we all start saying, it's written on the wall. And so they backspace and they start typing again. No, it's not. And we're like, yes, it is. So we wait a couple of seconds, and somebody comes walking in. It's the dude that, like, you know, let us into the room and stuff. And he's like, hey, so you said that the code is written on the wall? I'm like, yeah, it's right there, clear as day. He's like, oh, yeah, somebody was supposed to paint over that. I guess they just didn't do it. But, yeah, that's the final puzzle to get out of the room. Sorry about that. Just ignore that to the end. And then he leaves. Yeah. He just, oh yeah, sorry, I know that the rest of your time in the room has been ruined, but, you know, have a good time. Eek! Shuts the door. So I'm livid, right? I am mad, because, you know, we paid $20 a person to come here and pretend to be trapped for an hour. You know, whitest thing you can ever do. But we enjoy that type of thing. It's fun. It's a good team building exercise, right? Well, so I'm so mad that I don't even want to, like, solve puzzles anymore. Everybody's like, look, Taylor, you just need to calm down. We'll just make the best of it, and we'll just figure out the rest of the puzzles, and we'll beat it. So we've skipped ahead so many spots, we don't even know what to look for next, so we have to ask for a hint, and they give us one, you know, and then we just blaze through the rest of them, because they're like puzzles that literally a 7-year-old could figure out. We didn't even need all of the answers to figure out some of the puzzles. We would just guess a number, and that would be the one that would open something. So we finish with 5 minutes to spare, right? And they're like, he just comes in the room, and he's like, oh, because we were like, yeah, we found the thing that leads into the last puzzle. We're done. And he's just like, oh, did you guys have fun? And my buddy's like, I guess. And everybody just busted out laughing. He's like, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Somebody should be painting over that tomorrow. And I was like, well, I mean, what good does that do me now? Am I going to come back and do it again tomorrow and just forget? You know? I'll remember that code for the rest of my life. 352211. Because I had such a terrible time, I'm going to say the name of this establishment. Because if you listen to this podcast, I don't want you to go there and not get your money's worth and be like, oh man, I shouldn't have gone. I wish he had told me what place this was. It's Escape This in Biloxi, Mississippi. If you look that up on Google, you'll know which one I'm talking about. Because look, I get it. Not everybody is, you know, the best escape room person ever, or the best at what they do. There are burger joints. Some of them are really good, and some of them are just burger joints. There are escape rooms that are really, really good, and some of them are just escape rooms. You know what I mean? But I'm going to be honest with you. If you're going to pay $20, go to one of the other ones that is in the drop down for things to go do when you type in escape rooms in Biloxi, Mississippi. Do not go to that one, because you're going to be severely let down. Okay? And if you do decide to do it, and you really want to throw those people in there for a loop, because I'm absolutely positive they did not paint over that. They didn't do anything that they told us they were going to do. I'm sure that girl just rolled her eyes and started playing on her phone whenever that guy said anything. The code to open the last box to get out of the room is 352211. Okay? Put that in on one of the combination locks. You'll open it. There'll be a hand inside, and you'll make that dude's head explode. So, yeah. And then, to top it all off, with doing the whitest thing ever, I did another whitest thing ever. I downloaded Yelp on my phone, and wrote them a scathing review. I did it on Facebook. I did it on my Yelp. And, why not? You're running a business. You want feedback from people. Look, and that's what my wife said. She was like, no, don't do that. Why do you got to do that? Because when I'm going to a place I've never been before, you know what I'm looking at? If I look it up on Google, I'm looking at what other people said about it. Because I don't want to go spend 40. It was 5 of us that went. It was $107. Now, I just paid for me and my wife, so it was only 40, but that's against the point. It was still $40. So, if I give somebody $40 and I just get some lackluster experience, it ain't worth it to me, So I'm going to let other people know, hey, before you do this, this is what happened to me. But it's whatever, I think that's one of the true signs that I'm getting older. I talked about this in the last podcast, but me complaining about my experiences somewhere on Yelp and stuff like that, that is the true definition of a middle-aged white man. And that's what I'm slowly but surely turning into. Can't help it. Can't help it at all. I just, hey. Don't not do what you're supposed to do correctly. You're the people that work in the escape room. Make it nicer. Make it look like I'm trapped somewhere, not just in a doctor's office with some things to solve. How do I feel like I've been kidnapped and I need to escape the room? There's a big-ass window right in front of me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick up a chair and I'm going to go out the window like I'm in the WWE. Room escaped. That's what I should do. I should go back in a couple of months with a mustache so they don't recognize me, and I should sign up for the same room and then just throw that chair that they have in there through the pane glass window. Well, I escaped the room. Did I win? It says escape room, so I busted the window and went through it. Yeah, sorry, we meant to put a wall there, but unfortunately nobody's done it there yet, so we just covered up the window with, a sheet. It smelled like a doctor's office in there. Like a 90s doctor's office, or late 80s. With that, brick building, just ominously, hiding in a corner somewhere. That's what it looked like. Well, like a doctor's office. Or a dentist's office, or something like that, Had that chemical smell. So yeah, I think we're going to go do another one this weekend, but we're going to go to a different one. I've been looking at them online, looking at pictures, because if I go to a place and I pay money to feel like I've been kidnapped, I want it to be I want it to look like a basement in the room. It's dark and there's water dripping from the ceiling, and when the time starts getting close to the time that it's going to be over, I want the killer. I want to hear his footsteps coming down the hallway, so it makes me nervous while I'm trying to put in a combination so I can get out of the room type of deal. That's what I want going on. I want authenticity. What do you think this is? It's ridiculous. But yeah. I said I wasn't going to talk about college football anymore, but I'm going to talk about one thing, and then I'm going to leave it alone. Jalen Hurts is going to Oklahoma. That just came out a little while ago. Jalen Hurts is going to Oklahoma, and he's going to be their quarterback. What are y'all going to do if Jalen Hurts takes Oklahoma to a national championship next year and wins the Heisman? What are y'all going to do? What are y'all going to do? I love Jalen Hurts. I'm not an Alabama fan. I actually despise Alabama. But you know what? I respect them. I respect the team. I respect the coaching. They are a great football team. They have been for years. Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal athlete. He was one of my favorite athletes. He probably is my favorite athlete of the past year. Watching how he got taken out of the championship game the year before last against Georgia, and they put in that Tua Tagovailoa dude, and he came back and ended up beating Georgia. He was the hero. And for the past year, he's been the starting quarterback. He's been on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He's been getting all the attention. And he's been, he was a Heisman nominee this year. Unfortunately, he didn't win, even though I thought he should have. They gave it to Kyle Murray, which I still think was a good pick. But, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I am from Alabama. But I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts is a class act. Regardless of who you root for, who your team is, Jalen Hurts was one of the most detrimental football players in college football this year. Not because of his athleticism, but because of his character. Because that is one of the truest testaments of sportsmanship. I'm getting on a soapbox right now, son. Okay? So if this isn't your thing, go ahead and cut this off. But a true testament to sportsmanship is what Jalen Hurts did this past year. He took a back seat to a junior player with a team he had already taken to a national championship. They didn't win. However, he took them to the national championship. He took them to another national championship. And then in the championship game, Coach Saban was like, you know what? We're going to put this other boy in. We're going to see what happens. And they ended up winning. Okay? Which is all fine and dandy. But he took a back seat to this guy, became a mentor to him, and then when he struggled in the SEC championship game, he stepped up, played his heart out, and ended up winning that game for them. One of the best games of the season. Alabama versus Georgia. Only though it didn't really matter because Clemson put the beat down on Alabama. But that's against the point. Either way, my hat's off to you, Jalen. I hope you do take Oklahoma to a national championship as long as it's not against Auburn. And I hope you win the Heisman. And I hope you get drafted in the NFL because you're that dude. You are an inspiration to young athletes everywhere. Real talk. And that's coming from an Auburn fan. Dude, I turned 25 in 3 days. 25. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even think I was going to live this long. For real. I thought I would have gotten eaten by an alligator by now or something. I've always thought I would die in the craziest way imaginable. I don't want to just slip on a banana peel and, break my back or something. Or get tuberculosis. That would suck. I figured I'd get eaten by an alligator or, sucked out of a little pinhole-sized window in a spaceship or something. Beaten to death by a Sasquatch. Eaten by a grizzly bear. I figured it would be like The Revenant when that bear beats the absolute hell out of Leonardo DiCaprio. I figured that's how I'd go out. I'd just be up there just hiking through the woods, let's go on a hike. and a big old 3,000-pound grizzly bear comes and just rips me to shreds. So yeah. I'm excited though. I think it'll be a good birthday. I hope it is. I've had some doozies. You know, but I remember like looking. Anybody ever do that where you like look at a calendar like years before just to see like what day your birthday will fall on in like 10 years? I remember doing that when I was like 10 years old, and I'll be like, wow, I'll turn 25 on a Saturday. And sure enough, here it is. You know? But yeah, man, I'd say that's about it for this episode. I don't really got a whole lot more to talk about. I'm sure I will next week. Whatever debauchery happens, you know, for my birthday. Hopefully. Hopefully it's just like, oh no, stayed at home, ate a bowl of oatmeal, you know. Maybe I'll call Donald Trump and ask him if I can, you know, come to the White House and him serve McDonald's. That would be cool. People have been losing their minds over that. People are more upset about Donald Trump serving McDonald's at the White House than they are about the government being shut down. Like, who... It's like... Regardless of how you feel about it, who really cares? You know? Apparently that's what the Clemson football team said they wanted, was cheeseburger. And to be honest with you, it wasn't like anything they've ever done before, you know? Wasn't like just some boring dinner. You know, he fed them dudes fast food. They're all a bunch of young 20-year-olds. I'm sure they were like, oh, okay. You know? I know I would have. Somebody offered me a free Big Mac right now. I'll eat it out of a dead person's nose. Real talk, I'll take a Big Mac. I've been like doing this diet thing for like the past week where past 2 weeks. I started it on New Year's because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I've literally been just eating. At lunchtime, I'll eat something, and I eat something at dinner time. And then I don't eat anything until lunchtime the next day. Well, here I go. I'm going to talk about everything under the map. Anyways, I appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate everybody being supportive. For those of you that have been asking, the video podcast is on its way. Just give it some time. Okay? As Dutch Vanderland would say from Red Dead Redemption 2, have a little goddamn faith. Okay? I've got a plan. But yeah, man. Appreciate everybody listening. This is episode 11 of the Mac Daddy Seminar, and I will see you guys next week.